Who really betrayed whom? The Kurds or the United States? America's most loyal allies in the fight against ISIS were the Kurds. 11,000 of them died. Then one phone call ended the alliance. Did the Kurds really steal the US weapons? This story isn't just about Syria in 2019. It's about a pattern that has repeated itself for over 50 years. And right now, in 2026, the United States is reportedly asking Kurdish forces to enter a new conflict with Iran. Same promise, same Kurds, same question. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just what happened, but why it keeps happening. And you'll have to decide, is this a story about American betrayal? Or is it something more complicated than that? Who are the Kurds? The Kurds are one of the oldest ethnic groups in the Middle East, 30 to 40 million people, larger than the population of Saudi Arabia, and yet no country. After World War I collapsed the Ottoman Empire, the victorious powers promised them a homeland. The 1920 Treaty of Sèvres proposed an autonomous Kurdish state. 3 years later, the 1923 Treaty of Lausanne replaced it. The word Kurdistan didn't appear once. Their future was decided in rooms they were never allowed to enter. And that is the founding wound of everything that follows. Kissinger's game, 1972 to 1975. Two Kurdish leaders walked into the CIA. Henry Kissinger had personally authorized them to be there. The US would secretly arm the Kurds of northern Iraq, not because America wanted a Kurdish state, because Iraq was drifting toward the Soviet Union, and arming Kurdish rebels was a cheap way to destabilize it. For 3 years, the CIA funneled weapons into Kurdish hands. The Kurdish leader, Mustafa Barzani, believed. He trusted the Americans so deeply that he once said, and this is real, America is too great a power to betray a small people like the Kurds. Then, on March 6, 1975, Iraq and Iran shook hands in Algiers. They settled a border dispute. In exchange, Iran agreed to cut off the Kurds immediately. Within hours, not days, hours, the weapons stopped. The CIA officers in the field were stunned. Barzani wrote desperately to Kissinger. There was no reply. The Iraqi army swept through. Approximately 1,400 villages were destroyed. Over 100,000 Kurdish refugees fled. Barzani died in exile in 1979 in a Washington hospital, without ever going home. The Pike Report. A congressional investigation later obtained internal documents. The Pike Committee concluded, officially, that Kissinger and the Shah hoped that our clients would not prevail. Not hoped they would win, hoped they would lose. The Kurds were armed to bleed Iraq, not to be free. When Kissinger was asked how he could justify this to Congress, he said, "Covert action should not be confused with missionary work." The uprising. They didn't support 16 years later. President George H.W. Bush was broadcasting into Iraq during Desert Storm. He told the Iraqi people, directly, to rise up and force Saddam out. That message was dropped on leaflets from coalition aircraft. It was broadcast on every international channel into Iraq. The Kurds heard it. They rose up. Within weeks, 14 of Iraq's 18 provinces were no longer under Saddam's control. It was the most significant internal challenge to his regime ever. And then the US did nothing. The Bush administration feared what they called the Lebanonization of Iraq. They feared Iranian influence. They feared more American casualties. Meanwhile, General Schwarzkopf, in a ceasefire meeting, had inadvertently permitted Iraqi generals to keep flying armed helicopters. Saddam used those helicopters to massacre the uprising. An estimated 20,000 Kurds were killed, 60,000 Shia in the south. While American jets patrolled the skies above, at this point, you might be thinking, okay, the pattern is obvious. America uses the Kurds and abandons them. But here's what complicates that story. The US is not the only actor in this, and the Kurds haven't always been passive victims. The counterargument/the complexity. Turkey is a NATO member, the second largest military in NATO, and Turkey views the Kurdish forces, specifically the YPG and PKK, as an existential terrorist threat. This is not just posturing. The PKK has fought a bloody insurgency inside Turkey for over 3 decades. The U.S. has officially designated the PKK as a foreign terrorist organization. And the YPG, the Syrian Kurdish force that fought ISIS alongside Americans, is closely linked to the PKK. So the United States found itself allied with a group that its NATO ally considered a terrorist organization. That is not a simple situation. Here's the catch-22. When Obama needed ground troops to fight ISIS in 2014, Turkey refused to participate. So the U.S. turned to the only available partner, the Syrian Kurds. For 5 years, those Kurdish fighters, men and women, dismantled the ISIS caliphate village by village. More than 11,000 of them died. And then, in October 2019, President Trump got on the phone with Turkish President Erdogan. And the next day, U.S. troops began moving away from the border. Turkey launched Operation Peace Spring. Around 300,000 Kurds were displaced. An SDF fighter walked up to an American officer and gave him his unit badge. He was crying. The officer later said it was the most emotional moment of his military career. He also said, there will be a whole generation of U.S. military that will never forget this betrayal. 2017, and the self-inflicted wound. But here's where the Kurds made a decision that still divides analysts. In September 2017, the Kurdistan regional government of Iraq held an independence referendum. 92% voted yes. The U.S. told them not to do it. Turkey told them not to do it. Iran told them not to do it. Baghdad said it was illegal. They did it anyway. 2 weeks later, Iraqi forces and Iran-backed militias marched on Kirkuk, the most valuable, most symbolic Kurdish city. Some PUK-aligned Peshmerga withdrew without firing a shot. In weeks, the KRG lost approximately 40% of its territory. The oil fields of Kirkuk, gone. Multiple analysts have concluded that while the U.S. could have done more to protect the Kurds after the referendum, the KRG leadership made a catastrophic miscalculation. They bet everything on a vote the entire world had told them not to hold. This doesn't erase what the U.S. did or didn't do, but it complicates the clean narrative of victimhood. So, who really betrayed whom? Here's the honest answer. The United States has used the Kurds as a geopolitical tool, repeatedly, knowingly, cynically. The Pike Report proved it in 1976. George H.W. Bush demonstrated it in 1991. Trump confirmed it in 2019. That is documented fact. But the Kurds are not simply victims of American decisions. Kurdish leaders have sometimes made choices, taking the 2017 referendum, trusting a partner who had already abandoned them multiple times, that accelerated their own vulnerability. The deeper problem isn't one president or one phone call. It's a structural trap. 30 to 40 million Kurds live across 4 countries: Turkey, Iraq, Iran, Syria, every one of which has an interest in keeping them divided. The United States has an alliance with one of those countries that supersedes its relationship with the Kurds every single time. This isn't new. It isn't an accident. It's the architecture. And right now, in 2026, the U.S. is reportedly encouraging Iranian Kurds to enter a new conflict. The same promise, the same people, the same pattern. The only thing that changes is the name of the president making the call. Mustafa Barzani said, "America is too great a power to betray a small people like the Kurds." He said it in 1972. He was wrong. The question for today is, do we keep repeating this cycle? Or does someone, somewhere, finally refuse to pick up the phone? Please subscribe and like this video. If you think I got something wrong, please tell me in the comments, because this story deserves to be told accurately.